Today we're continuing looking at our notes dealing with slope, and we're going to talk today about point slope form. We'll go ahead and write that out. When we're dealing with point slope form, we're given a point and the slope, and we write it in an equation. We'll look at an example here in a minute, but this is what point slope form looks like. Now that's different to y-intercept or slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. b being your y-intercept and m being your slope. So using these equations, we're going to take a look at a couple things here. We're going to, next question, write the equation in point slope and slope-intercept form that goes through the points 4, 9, and -2, 0. So what we'll do first, let's first put this in point slope form. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pick out a point. I'm going to pick out this point right here to put into the equation. So according to point slope form, we take y and we subtract y1, this being y1. So y minus 9 equals my slope, my m. I don't have my slope, but if you'll remember yesterday when we looked at that, we found the slope by saying 9 minus 0 over 4 minus -2. Where did I come up with that? You remember our equation from our previous y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. When I simplify that, I get 9 over 6, which is the same as 3 over 2. So coming back to my equation here, I have y minus y1, which we just used this y. You can pick any y you want as long as you use the same x, equals m, my slope, 3 over 2 times x minus my x1, which is 4. So this right here is point slope. I need the slope, and I need basically what they're saying. I need a point and I need the slope. Okay, now slope-intercept is different. With slope-intercept, that is going to be using this y equals mx plus b format. Let me erase some of this work that I have here. We're going to keep that 3 over 2 because that's my slope. And we write it as y equals my slope 3 over 2 times x plus b, which is my y-intercept. I don't have my y-intercept, but remember, we can find that, or if we don't have the y-intercept, we can change our point slope form to make it into point intercept or slope intercept. So what we need to do this in black. We're going to start, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit, with our equation, with our point slope equation of y minus 9 equals 3 over 2 times x minus 4. And all I did is I just copied that equation from this right here. Okay? So we need to write this in slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b format. So we're going to distribute the slope 3/2 times x, which is 3 over 2 times x, minus 3 times 4, 12 over 2, which can be rewritten as y minus 9 equals 3 over 2x minus 6. Well, we need to get the y by itself, So what we're going to do here is we're going to add 9 to both sides. And we end up with y equals 3/2 x plus 3. Now notice this is now in y equals mx plus b format. So this is slope-intercept. So we've got point slope form in blue, and we got slope-intercept form here in black. It all started with us having to find the slope, putting it in point slope, and then going from point slope to slope-intercept. All right, let's look at the next question. Write the equation in point slope and slope-intercept for a line perpendicular to the line that passes through that right there. So first of all, let's see if we can find the slope. The slope of this equation is 1/5. Remember, if it's perpendicular, it's going to have opposites, so it's going to be negative, and the reciprocal would be 5/1, which is -5. So the slope to my line is going to be -5. And notice it passes through 2, 8. So we're going to use point slope form to write this, since I know what my slope is and I have a point. So y minus my y coordinate, which is 8, equals my slope, -5, times x minus my x coordinate, which is 2. Again, getting 2 and 8 from here. What we have now, that is point slope form. I need to write this in slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and write it over here. Again, it was y minus 8 equals -5 times x minus 2. Distribute that 5. -5x plus 10. Add 8 to both sides. And I get y equals -5x plus 18. That is in slope-intercept form. So there we have it. We have the equation in point slope form right here, and slope-intercept form right here, from a line that's perpendicular to this line, which we got our slope here, and it goes through this point. All right, last question. Write the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that goes through that point and is normal. One thing to look at, this word normal basically is the same thing as perpendicular. So it goes through this point and it's perpendicular to a line that goes through these 2 points. So what we have to do is find the slope of the line with those 2 points, find the perpendicular slope, and then plug it into our formula. So let's start with this right here. We're going to say 4 minus 4 over 2 minus -6. That equals 0 over 8, which is 0. So if it has a slope of 0, what slope would be perpendicular to that? Let's just graph this real quick so we can kind of get a visual idea. 2, 4 and -6, 4 would be something out here. So basically, the line that we just found the slope for looks like this. It's a horizontal line. If we're looking for a slope that is perpendicular to this, it would be a vertical line, wouldn't it? And if it was a vertical line, what would the slope be? The slope, remember, would be undefined. Now, it passes through the points negative 2, 5. So let's graph that. I'll use a different color. Negative 2, 5, and it's going to look like this. So what is the equation for this? Well, remember, if they're vertical lines, they're going to be x equals. It's the one line that starts with x equals when it has an undefined slope. And it goes through negative 2 on the x-axis, so it's going to be x equals negative 2. Kind of a tricky question. That's actually my answer. That's the equation for the line that's perpendicular to the line with the slope of 0. Okay, hopefully these examples help you working on the assignment for today dealing with equations of lines.